Hey everyone, my name is Lynette from Thrive Anywhere. My team and I design done for you planners, journals, and workbooks so you don't have to and can focus on what you do best. Many of our customers use our workbooks to work one on one with their clients or sell them as their own product. And those are great users. But did you know the workbooks can also be repurposed into a podcast episode or audio visual content for your membership site if you have one? I bet you're thinking now, how do you do that? Well, that's what I'm going to show you today. Over to the left side of the screen, you see one of our workbooks titled Customer Service SOP. This workbook helps people create documentation and operating procedures for their customer service team. And on the right is a blank document where I'll write my podcast script. To start off, every podcast episode needs a title. But I won't be calling this episode Customer Service SOP. It's dry, boring, and won't draw people in to listen. Instead, I'll title it Five Things Your Team Must Know to Deliver Excellent Service. Now, this is just a quick title that I came up with. I'm sure you can create something that's a little bit more compelling than this. Next, I'll write a quick greeting to open the podcast. Then I'll take a bit of time to explain the subject matter. This part is actually taken directly from the introduction page of our workbook. What I did was that I copied and pasted this text here into my document, and then I cleaned it up a little bit so that it sounds better on audio. And this is something you have to do quite a bit to transform written content into spoken content. So if you look at this too, you can see that quite a bit of the content is brought over from here to here, but I also started off with something of my own here. Moving on to the next page, I could use the text in here, but instead I take inspiration from the title and the text and consider what the section of this workbook is trying to get people to do. It's trying to help people create a guidebook for their team using these pages and questions. Since I'm doing a podcast, my role is different from that in the workbook. It's changing from helping people figure it out into I'm telling them what they need to do. So, based on the workbook here, what people need their team to know is their company information. So, I'll write a short paragraph to start that off. Then I'll give them some examples based on the questions from the workbook over here. As you can tell, the examples is basically the same copy from the workbook and maybe shortened up just a little bit. On the next page, I'll tell people their team needs to know about team structure and responsibilities. And instead of taking the content from this part, I'll come up with a quick explanation of each of the next pages and tell people why it's important for their team to know about them. And so in my script, this is the quick overview of what's to come. I'll continue to take cues and inspiration and guidance from the pages of the workbook. I'll write that. And for this page, I'll write that for the script. And I'll continue until I have the five things that I promised to the listener. And now that we have all the 5 points, last but not least, I'll close my script by telling people that if they find it all too much to keep up with, that they don't have to because we already created a handy workbook for them and go into a little short pitch about how the workbook will help them. If you have a keen eye, you will probably notice up top here that I've only covered 8 pages out of the 32 pages in this workbook. And that's a good thing because it means that you'll be able to create 2 or even more episodes out of this one workbook. And as for this script here, you can rework it into a blog post. Especially now that you have a script, it's pretty easy to turn it into a blog post. And you can also hire someone to turn the audio recording after you've recorded the script into a video for your YouTube channel. Regardless of how many pieces of content or format you create, remember to always plug your paid workbook. Now you've used the workbook content to sell the workbook and put out lots of content at the same time. That's a big win. All right, it's your turn to repurpose the workbook. And if you don't have one, stop by our shop to pick one up. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up so others can discover it and be helped by it too. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications when we release new videos. Thank you, and I'll catch you next time.